we have Jason Dodier from to talk about distributed generation opportunities in the New York, New Jersey market. Jason is the New York, New Jersey sales manager for the power systems division of Schneider Electric. And he's also he's a specialist in global energy management and deals a lot with as well their international practice. So following in well teed up footsteps as a great leadoff hitter always does, since yes, I'm following the opening day is next week theme. So thank you, Mona, and Jason, please take it away.
I appreciate it, Rob. And look, Mona talked a little bit about roles, right? And I'm proud to share a little bit about the roles that we've had both globally and locally, right? Schneider Electric, many people maybe have heard of Schneider. Many know a lot of our strong categorical brands, but I'm going to keep it simple, Rob. At the core, our purpose is to empower everybody to make the most use of their energy and resources. And I'm proud to say, I spent half my career with Schneider living and working internationally in the Middle East and in Europe, and we had very heavy emphasis on access to energy programs, working in different countries to help to drive innovation. We've been around for almost 2 centuries. Many people don't know that, right? We started with Industry 2.0, thinking about major technological innovations around electricity, electronics, mechanical, and we're here today. And we like to say we put the T in IoT. So if you think about problems customers are solving today, and Mona was talking about a handful of those, right? And I saw it in the chat, microgrids, distributed energy. How do we solve the hardest challenges today? Schneider is coming with a variety of solutions that I'm going to talk about and share with you, but I'm going to start with something very, very simple, because still a lot of people say, what is it that you do? Well, at the end of the day, we connect electrical, mechanical, and the digital world. So think about grid to plug, homes, apartments, commercial buildings. We're all about resiliency, efficiency, and safely distributing energy. And we focus on the demand side of energy, Rob. So we're in 4 out of 10 homes right now across the US. We've got a lot of brands in there, some that you've heard of, Square D, APC, Summit Energy, ASCO, or some of the companies. But to go down even one more level of granularity, think about you go into your house and you open up the panel board. It's very likely you have a Square D load center. You'll have circuit breakers. You're probably going to have wiring devices in your home. Everyone forgets these products exist until an old refrigerator or a vacuum or a hair straightener pops a circuit, right? Trips a circuit. An old and faulty appliance. We've all gone through that, right? And what we do is we come in and we help isolate larger problems. We can provide an ultimate connected home experience, allowing individuals today to take control of their energy use, right? Are your household budgets on track with record inflation that we're seeing after 4 decades? I think it's been since 82, we've seen inflation like this. People are cost conscious, but we also want to make sure at the same time we're doing right by the environment. So am I maximizing solar panels if I have them on my home? Am I cross-checking the utility bill? What does that mean? Think of it like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit. Our Wiser energy system installs in your home's electrical panel and provides real-time energy usage. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can use your phone or connected device. You can check on what's happening in the home. Now, to take it a step further, we've transcended the digital story in a very, very big way. So we're not only leading from an IoT-enabled plug-and-play, open interoperable architecture, both in buildings and data centers and infrastructure and industry, but we're also leading when it comes to electrical design and construction management. So many of the questions in the chat were about what does it take to build a distributed energy solution? Well, it starts at the front end with the EPC side. It's a full value chain. So we leverage electrical CAD to visualize and simulate to basically prove that the designs we have in the construction firm can leverage 6D BIM to decarbonize their projects and collaborate with a variety of stakeholders. We announced a partnership with Autodesk in 2020 to advance the electrical design workflows within Revit. And this solution is going to be launching later this year. And think about this. I mean, this blows my mind every time I see it. 30% of construction cost is waste, incorrectly sized or spec'd equipment. And construction and real estate, the built environment is 24th out of 25 in terms of global industries when it comes to digitization. The 25th one, Rob, is hunting. So that gives a little bit more perspective. It all aligns with our overarching plan: strategize, digitize, and decarbonize. Now, when we go to the second leg of what I want to talk about is reimagining. All the panelists and speakers, everything that Peter has sought to do by putting this very forum on is solving the customer problem and accelerating around different applications, right? We're working at the intersection of community, finance, and technology. And to get where we need to go, you have to use a variety of levers to support with decarbonization, right? And we at Schneider are very focused on energy management and Industry 4.0 across some of the big buckets. And I'll hone in on one particular area, which is the data center space. And that's where I started my career at Schneider. Think about data centers right now, and the pandemic has accelerated this. Data centers consume about 3% of the global electric supply and account for roughly 2% of total greenhouse gas emissions. That's the same as the entire airline industry. Now, this is accelerating even more rapidly. And to put it in context of what Schneider does, you can't be online for more than 6 hours without pinging an IP address that's hosted on a Schneider Electric powered server when you think about our data centers. Now, taking it a step further to what we've been talking a little bit about in the chat, microgrids, right? So Schneider Electric made a very bold bet over a decade ago in microgrids. And today we are #1 in North America. We've worked on 300 plus microgrid and control projects that have successfully launched. And worldwide, we're ranked #1 when it comes to low and medium voltage technology and creating energy as a service. So energy as a service is a really unique topic. It's one of the things that brought me to Manhattan from Washington, D.C., where I was prior. And what energy as a service has done is it's taken world-class technology, specifically the technology that we make and our partners make, and we've leveraged innovative financing. We've created 2 big structures. One of them is a company called Alpha Structure, which is focused on larger, let's think about it as greater than 5 megawatt applications across commercial, industrial, government, infrastructure. And really, we're focused on savings, sustainability, and resilience at no upfront cost. The other, and we partnered with the Carlyle Group to put that together. The other mechanism, Rob, is Green Structure. And Green Structure is focused on that underserved, medium-sized building market. And that's backed with Schneider Electric, Huck Capital, and ClearGen. And what these mechanisms allow for us to do is to leverage energy as a service, address energy transition needs, unburdened from CapEx, construction, and operations risk. And it depends on the application, Rob. It could be PV, fuel cell, geothermal, wind. It depends on what the customer is looking to do. We come in with our team, and I'll give you an example. One of the projects we're really proud of that we launched was the Montgomery County Bus Depot. So if you look at the 5 core areas that are driving greenhouse gas emissions, we've got to electrify transportation. Right now, that's around 8 gigatons globally. The switch from gas and diesel engines to fleet of plug-in electric, bikes, cars, trucks, and buses is paramount. And we're proud to say we're helping Montgomery County enable 44 buses in that transit fleet to transition from diesel to electric. And in the process, we're cutting, conserving, and removing, and we're helping the county achieve their net zero emissions by 2035 and lifetime emissions reductions of over 155,000 tons. That's powerful, right? That's an impact we're having in the community. And it aligns with some of these other things. When you think about sustainability and energy as a service, there's one other thing I want to call out, and then I want to go to the last leg on innovation, is the prosumer story. You and me, we consume, and we're trying to control our own energy. We're trying to do that around solar and storage and EVs and offset certification. So Schneider is building out a suite of items and platforms that are allowing the prosumer and individuals to have more control and access to the overarching flow that is driving and potentially selling back into the grid. So that's some of the stuff we're doing as it relates to the as a service model and innovating outside the traditional connected product business. The last thing I want to talk about is innovation. And this, from a corporate perspective, I don't think it's highlighted enough, some of the work that's happening. And we all know it's a Herculean task that we're up against, because this is nothing short of a complete transformation of the way we do business. And at Schneider Electric today, we are aligned very, very closely with being climate positive. We know as a nation currently, if we're going to reduce carbon emissions by 50 to 52% by 2030, we have to do different things. We have to think differently. So with that said, we launched Schneider Electric Ventures in 2017. Schneider Electric Ventures does a number of things. Number one, it cultivates an ecosystem of startups and VC partnerships. We're always exploring new technologies because we need to build the Schneider Electric of tomorrow. Just like all the other speakers are looking, how do we come together to create the industries of the future? we put real value into our portfolio companies, and we're focused obviously on delivering financial returns for our stakeholders. And the three pillars, Rob, is partnerships, incubation, and investment. And I want to talk about incubation for a minute, right? Because incubation is how we get where we need to go. The sustainable digital world of tomorrow is being built now. And in Schneider Electric, we created a program called the Dare to Disrupt Challenge. We challenged our 130,000 employees all over the world to come up with ideas, bold ideas and big bets, not only that are complementary to what we're doing at Schneider, but will have an impact to the community at large from a sustainability perspective. And I'm proud to say I was part of one of those teams. We essentially created the grain ecosystem. The grain ecosystem, what we do is we look to work with project developers focused on either nature-based solutions or techno-sequestration. Mona was talking a lot about carbon capture, to just eradicate the crazy process we see today it's very costly, takes a lot of time to create high quality carbon offsets for those firms. And that's something we're heavily engaged in and working towards. And it's a big milestone at Schneider. We also have a Go Green in the City campaign for all the students that are listening to the program today. It's a competition that's supported by our top executives. We focus on engineering, computer science, energy focused majors, because there's a huge generational shift. We're going through a silver tsunami in the industry. We've got to embolden and empower young leaders. And you come in, you put your startup ideas out there, the winners get incubated by Schneider Electric and get to attend our innovation summit. So there's a lot that we're doing to get where we need to go. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the capabilities that inclusion and diversity of thought have into this process. Diversity is the art of thinking independently together. And if you don't have that diverse mindset and you're not constantly challenging the status quo, what you have is false confidence and a lot of blind spots that don't get uncovered and really inhibit driving these messages forward, Rob. And we've got to increase more gender diversity. We're making a press to be 50-50 across the board in leadership roles, male and female, more apprenticeships, more internships, training people in energy management in the communities. And really, to close out, it's not a coincidence. You know, we've been accelerating, continue to be recognized as one of the most sustainable companies and best places to work, but we're changing the perspective, Rob, on energy as a service and the necessary products, software, services to ensure that the energy of today becomes the energy of tomorrow. Sustainability guides our mission at Schneider Electric to create a cleaner future. And my message to everybody here, are you ready to join us on that journey? So I thank you for your time. And as always, grateful to be here with Peter and the team.
Thanks, Jason. Really appreciate that. And your comment about the partnership with Carlisle, saw that when it was launched, I think, and it's amazing to see how far you guys have built that up. And I remember talking with some colleagues about, if I wanted to bet on, microgrids, knowing that like, who do you bet on in that kind of thing? And I think, you really hit the nail on the head of how you guys have driven that approach and where it's coming from, because it's one of those, it's not easy to say, oh, this is an energy storage company, or this is where we're driving innovation. And I think even the way that you guys have approached, the next generation of integrating renewables, of how the grid's going to evolve. Can you talk a little bit more about how that's played out in some of the markets here, I think in the New York, New Jersey area, because, it's one of the challenges being in New York City is we do have transmission constraints, right? So I think some of the innovations that you're working on, Mona talked about offshore wind, and that's going to be coming on, but there's a lot of innovations in that 70-year-old building stock that's not going anywhere, or the building stock that's not going anywhere for 70 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is clear and it's glaring, right? As somebody who's helping to lead our business locally in the market, there's local laws, 94 and 97 that we're working to abide towards. We have a whole buildings division, right, that is focused on building automation and controls and electrifying buildings and getting engaged. And one of the things I'm proud of in these projects is, yes, we are limited in space in the city. There's no doubt about it. And we've evaluated different technologies, especially battery energy storage and PV. You talk about larger infrastructures. How do you leverage canopies and rooftop solar in an efficient way? And what can we do to green these spaces and drive reductions? The other thing that you made me think about that I didn't talk as much about during the presentation is to complement the energy as a service story, and of course the EV charging story here. And the bus piece has clearly been a big one that's taken off. We partnered with Proterra on the Montgomery County project. When you look at New York City, there's other things that we can leverage as well inside Schneider and inside the broader community to help drive it down. What we want people to see is, when you talk about carbon offsets and carbon credits, they're going to start to see their balance sheets filling up with spend towards those things, Rob, which we hope is going to help accelerate the stuff that they're going to be doing on site. Because we'll come in, we'll do a full-fledged audit on those buildings, and we'll help give them opportunistic ideas that can improve the overall situation, right? It's not just the global, data management of their real estate, but understanding a little bit more scope 1 to scope 3 for those companies. So we hope that it can start locally and then become broader from an energy efficiency potential identification program. That's really our objective, is to bring in our sustainability arm and then the services that we can offer from Alpha Structure and Green Structure. And the key thing is making a decision fast. Can we move forward with this project, being realistic and transparent every step of the way?
And one of the questions that's in the Q&A that I wanted to tease out from is addressing AI and software and how that's affecting grid frequency management, DERs, things like that. And I think you brought up a great example that you're the things of the Internet of Things. But then that's the last, then software is kind of the last thing I think of when Schneider. So you can tell us how you guys have evolved or what you're seeing in the marketplace, not just for you, but broadly on the microgrids and some of these grid management technologies and how that plays with the hardware and the software.
Yeah, we've made very, very big bets on the digital side. And I think it's interesting because a lot of it has kind of flown under the radar until you actually get engaged in a solution. So as an example, we've invested in companies like ETAP, IGE, and XAO. That has driven us to be #1 in the electrical design process. I talked about that a little bit in the presentation. What that does, if you think of all the steps that it takes to get a project off the ground, and you think about the industrial infrastructure market as it is with automation, right? We're a massive stakeholder and partner with Aviva as an example, as another case. So if I think of it as a grid, funny play on words because we're talking about smart grids, and on one side you've got industry and power and buildings, and on the top you have essentially designing, building, operating, and maintain. We literally fill that out with a slew of products and services internally that at the end of the day, Rob, not only is it going to allow innovation at every level, from the connected products that we make or we integrate as third party to the edge control layer, which is in the middle, and then all the apps, analytics, and services. I talked about Wiser, which is the most basic for the home, expanding outward. So that's really what we've been doing. We branded it as EcoStructure. Folks that are on the call right now may have heard of EcoStructure, and that's the IoT-enabled platform I was talking about. But it's really how we filled that out to be able to strategize and digitize in real time and provide views that our customers and government agencies that we work with need to see in order to get where we have to go based on some of these big investments that we're making in the industry.
Well, we have about a minute left. So is there anything else maybe you want to touch on at maybe Schneider Ventures or how that kind of plays with, because I think that's one of the challenges, working with a lot of, personally, a lot of early stage companies. Some of their concerns is they see the great idea of a corporate VC, but then they worry, how is that going to restrict their ability to grow or other partners? Can you tee that up while, as a last question while Paul gets online?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it, right? I mean, I think, if you look at Schneider Ventures was really built along the lines of ensuring that we are delivering for our customers around the world. And we know that the top segments that we're looking at, power and grid, water, ports and airports, semicon, EV batteries, right? Government and e-mobility. So as we look at some of our customers and the biggest challenges today, and even some of the case studies, I mean, you can look at some of the businesses we've invested in, Clipsal Solar, as an example. This is a play in Australia, but we saw a winning opportunity to go and address the residential storage market there. I talked a little bit about the partnership we have with AutoGrid, but it's really, for us, it's been about understanding the industries of the future, buildings, infrastructure, IT, and larger scale industry applications, and collaborating already with the massive machine and what Schneider Electric has built over time. Because I'll close with this, the inertia and real world reality of incumbent sectors where startups can benefit mightily from domain, corporate scale, and customer reach. There's no better home for that than what we're doing here at Schneider Electric, Rob. And there's a testament to what we've built out in 3 to 4 years. And anybody that's attending or engaged can reach out to me, and I'm happy at any time to share more about what we're doing at Schneider Ventures, specifically around climate tech and industrial technology. It'd be my pleasure to do it. So again, I appreciate the time, and I'm looking forward to hearing the other speakers today.
Thanks, Jason.